So what happens, part of the whole nature, if you will, of the business, the model, this is from a revenue-generating perspective, I'll tell you. The videotape, we'd originally seen it and met with the head of security, or former head of security at the time, and had to rely upon what his descriptions were of in the video, because lo and behold, the video surveillance disappeared.
And this is what pissed me off, because when I got the medical records, that's when I knew I had a case. They had nothing from 7 p.m. at night. And it wasn't until 9:30 in the morning the next day they found him. So he was left alone for 14 and a half fucking hours with no vitals, no check, nothing. 14 and a half hours.
What you just heard isn't rumor, it's testimony, it's public record, and it's why a growing petition is demanding a formal investigation into American addiction centers, a nationwide treatment conglomerate with facilities across the U.S. American Addiction Centers, AAC, operates large-scale treatment facilities like River Oaks Treatment Center in Florida and maintains offshoot halfway houses and sober living placements, including a halfway house for women in Texas, located on Wet and Wild Lane. That detail matters because survivors and attorneys say what happens inside these off-site locations is where oversight disappears and abuse begins. This is not about politics. This is about preventable deaths, exploitation, and systems designed to evade accountability. Honoring the dead. First, we name those whose lives were lost, individuals reported in the petition to have died on AAC premises or aftercare failures. Stone Galloway, Joe Nicolos, Graham Hill, a 23-year-old man who died by suicide after being allowed to leave campus during a psychotic episode. Sean Rena, California, Connor Johnson, Cody Arbuckle, April Leeming, Andrew Sanders, Bradley Keith Bongar, Gary Benefield, Billy Patient, Duarte Cayetano.
Just to have it ignored and just to have them forget about him all night long, it's unforgivable. So you ask me how I feel?
Families tied to the petition report at least 50 deaths across AAC-associated locations, pointing to ignored warnings, unsecured campuses, and catastrophic failures of care. The petition and why it exists. This petition, started by Clelia Jane Shepherd, calls for investigations by the Joint Commission, Florida regulators, SAMHSA, and federal authorities. The allegations are not isolated. They describe patterns: unsafe facilities, drugs freely entering campuses, constant reliance on 911 instead of internal medical response, abrupt discharges, corporate shell games, name changes, bankruptcies, and offshoot entities used to keep operating while responsibility is avoided. Cody Arbuckle's story is central to this petition, not because it was unique, but because it reflects what families say happens repeatedly. Cody fought a vicious, relentless battle with addiction. His mother trusted AAC with her son's life during his most vulnerable moments.
What they do for Cody? Nothing. They harassed him all day long. I have a couple residents who reached out and told me, one girl told me he was in the office and they kept harassing him, and Cody wouldn't tell and was tight-lipped, and he said to that girl through the window, "Help me." His name, Chris, was one of the staff man, and he didn't know what to do, and he asked management, "What do I do?" And they said, "Stick Cody back in the detox house." And it wasn't until 9:30 in the morning the next day they found him. So he was left alone for 14 and a half fucking hours with no vitals, no check, nothing. 14 and a half hours.
Families like Cody's say their loved ones were promised safety, monitoring, and care, but instead faced unsecured campuses, delayed responses, and abandonment when liability became inconvenient. Survivors report being discharged for minor infractions, interpersonal conflicts, or simply when insurance coverage ran thin, often with no money, no transportation, and no aftercare plan. During the fentanyl crisis, River Oaks was dangerously insecure. According to first-hand accounts included in the petition, multiple fentanyl overdoses occurred within short individual stays. Drugs were smuggled onto campuses. Drinks were spiked. Overdoses went unrecognized until it was too late. Patients died on site, in facilities that claimed to exist to protect them. Public records show 433 calls to 911 from River Oaks in just its first years, nights, weekends, and holidays when administrative leadership wasn't present. Contributors to the petition say calling 911 became routine, sometimes daily, outsourcing crisis response instead of preventing emergencies in the first place. Tampa attorney Jack Gordon has represented victims connected to offshoot locations tied to treatment networks like AACs. His testimony is chilling.
The things that were going on at that apartment, which is owned by the same facility, but they utilize a different LLC to try to create some degree of corporate separation and distinction. Graham Hill is a perfect example. Why would you fly a guy who is now threatened to kill himself? He's shot live rounds in the house. He's clearly paranoid and delusional. His own psychiatrist has said that. These are bad, bad, bad places, Claudia. The vast majority of them are just bad. There's an entire commission structure, at least there was, as a result of that Hill lawsuit I had. They changed that structure because what they were doing is they were essentially creating incentive for the interventionalists and the hotline experts that you were speaking to, who are really nothing more than salesmen.
Gordon describes body brokering, kickbacks, legal language used to circumvent liability, corporate structures designed so parent companies profit while denying responsibility. In one case, he has spoken about a minor was gang raped at an off-site location linked to this ecosystem. These failures feed directly into what's known as the Florida Shuffle. Patients cycle through detox, residential, and sober homes. Discharged when insurance runs out. Relapse increases the chance of readmission and billing. Off-site sober homes, including those marketed to women, often operate with minimal regulation, creating environments ripe for exploitation. The petition also alleges excessive urine testing billed at extreme markups, ACA subsidies exploited through overbilling, NDAs used to suppress complaints, rebranding and shell entities used to escape scrutiny. AAC has denied wrongdoing. Families say denial is not the same as accountability. This petition exists because people are dead who didn't have to be. Sign it, share it, pressure regulators to act. Demand transparency in addiction treatment, because recovery should never be a revenue stream built on human wreckage. If you or someone you love needs help, research facilities carefully. Ask hard questions. Safety is not optional. Like, subscribe, comment. We will keep covering this.